June 28, 1914, Sarajevo. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, sits in the back of an open car beside his wife Sophie. The morning's already gone wrong. A bomb meant for them missed earlier, injuring bystanders instead. But the Archduke insists on continuing his visit to see the victims. His driver takes a wrong turn down a narrow street, realises the mistake and stops the car to reverse. Standing nearby is a 19-year-old student named Gavrilo Princip, part of a small nationalist group called the Black Hand. He's exhausted, angry and hungry, so he had stopped by a deli after the morning's failed assassination attempt. He looks up and sees the Archduke's car stalled right in front of him. Princip steps forward, raises his pistol and fires 2 shots. One hits Franz Ferdinand in the neck, the other hits Sophie in the abdomen. They die within minutes. Within weeks, Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. Russia mobilises to defend it. Germany joins in. France and Britain follow. Amidst long-simmering tensions in Europe, those 2 bullets didn't just kill a man and his wife. They were the spark that ignited World War I, a war that would claim over 16 million lives, bring down empires, and plant the seeds for another world war barely 20 years later. That is a prime example of the butterfly effect. The idea that tiny, almost invisible causes can lead to massive, unpredictable consequences, and yet we don't seem to notice how often this happens in our own lives. The term comes from chaos theory, a branch of mathematics that studies systems so sensitive that even the smallest change can completely reshape their outcome. It was popularised by Edward Lorenz, a meteorologist at MIT in the early 1960s. Lorenz was running a simple weather model on a sluggish computer, trying to save time in long simulations. He typed in numbers to represent temperature, pressure, wind. One run used the value 0.506127. Later, to speed things up, he fed the model the rounded value. You would expect a tiny difference like that to produce a tiny change. Instead, the model's future weather diverged completely. Rain became sunshine, stability dissolved into chaos. This sensitivity inspired the famous metaphor: does the flap of a butterfly's wings in Brazil set off a tornado in Texas? And the thing about the butterfly effect is it's in everything. Because if you zoom out just a bit, every single thing that led to you being here, right now, is the same kind of impossibly fragile chain. Your entire existence is the result of billions of tiny, unpredictable accidents. If one ancestor had looked the other way at a train station, if one war had gone slightly differently, or if one sperm out of 100 million swam a fraction slower, you wouldn't be here. Every friendship, every love, every thought in your head right now exists because reality decided to line up in exactly this way. Your parents met because of some random decision, a friend's invitation, a job opening, a delayed bus. Maybe your mum almost didn't go out that night. Maybe your dad almost didn't move to that city. And if any one of those tiny details had changed, even slightly, you just wouldn't exist. Like, think about that for a second. If one ancestor from 100 years ago caught a different train, or got sick that week, or met someone else, your entire genetic line shifts. No version of you would ever form. Not an alternate you, not even a what-if you, just nothing. And it's weird that it doesn't feel that way. We move through life like we were somehow meant to exist, like it was inevitable. But it's not. You're the result of the most fragile, impossible sequence of coincidences, and yet here you are. Somehow, through all the randomness, everything aligned just right to make you real. It's a paradox, how life can be so fragile yet feel so inevitable at the same time. Every meal, every job, every fight, every person we bump into by accident, they're all small Lorenz decimals, rounding errors in life that completely change the future in ways we don't see, at least not yet. Even your thoughts, the ideas that feel yours, are just echoes of random interactions. A YouTube video you clicked by mistake, something your teacher said, a friend who introduced you to a hobby you now love. You didn't plan those moments, but they built you anyway, and that's kind of wild, right? Psychology shows how tiny, seemingly trivial decisions can have enormous effects. The Stanford marshmallow experiment, for instance, revealed how moments of self-control in the childhood could influence life paths decades later. Or the Good Samaritan study, Whether a person stopped to help a stranger often depended less on personality and more on the context. A minor delay could alter someone's moral action entirely. Even everyday details like the song playing when you meet someone, the tone of the conversation, can redirect the course of your life. Small emotional cues can reshape memory, perception, and long-term behavior in ways you rarely notice. We talk about fate, destiny, purpose, as if there's a script. But what if it's just chaos wearing a story? What if meaning isn't planned? It's something we only notice when we look back and trace how the smallest things made us who we are. It's humbling, but also freeing. Because yeah, you don't control most of it, but neither does anyone else. So maybe it's about paying attention to the small things, the people who just happen to walk into your life, because nothing is meaningless then. And that's comforting in a strange way. When we look back, the butterfly effect feels poetic, like everything had to happen exactly the way it did to lead us here. It gives chaos a kind of beauty. But when we look forward, it feels overwhelming, because if every small decision could ripple outward forever, how do you even choose? What if staying home tonight changes your entire future? What if going out does? Thinking like that can almost paralyze you. You feel your mind spinning through all the what-ifs. And here you are overthinking again, anxiety, FOMO, the creeping sense that you could always be a moment away from completely screwing up your entire life in ways you can't control. The same idea that makes the past make sense can make the future terrifying. But you can't and shouldn't try to calculate every possibility. Hyperfixating on every potential ripple would break you. Even the best chess engines running millions of simulations eventually hit limits, and life is sure infinitely more unpredictable. Changing anything can change everything else. Chernobyl is an example. On April 26, 1986, a routine safety test at Reactor 4 went wrong. Operators made minor errors, the reactor had a flawed design, and a sequence of small misjudgments escalated into a massive explosion and radioactive release. Millions were affected, and the world felt the impact of decisions that might have seemed insignificant at the time. Same way that an unknown rapper in Detroit, performing in small venues, came to be best-selling rapper of all time because of a loss at the 1997 Rap Olympics and Dr. Dre's very hesitant decision to give him a shot. So if everything about us, our thoughts, our success, the people we love, depends on these tiny, uncontrollable flaps of fate, then what part of you is truly you? Is identity something we control, or something we recognize only in hindsight? Philosophers suggested that freedom doesn't come from controlling chaos, but from accepting it. Albert Camus called life absurd because it keeps moving despite our need to find meaning. And Kierkegaard, long before him, believed that true freedom isn't about controlling the chaos, but about embracing it, choosing to live anyway. Awareness, not control, is our greatest tool. Perhaps the butterfly effect isn't meant to make us paranoid about what could go wrong. Maybe it's meant to make us grateful for everything that went right. Because statistically, you shouldn't even be here. It's almost eerie how much had to align for you to be sitting here, breathing, watching this, thinking about this exact thought. And that's the beauty of it. Somewhere, years from now, someone's entire life might depend on the thing you do today, without you ever knowing it. And that is the butterfly effect.